Welcome to the Are You Annie podcast, where women who have walked through fire or are still walking through it come to find their way to the other side of narcissistic abuse. I'm Kyle Hackley, your host, attorney, mother, grandmother, and author of Undercurrent, a novel about a young woman named Annie who breaks free from her narcissistic husband. I want to start this episode out a little differently. I want to really drive home exactly why I created Are You Annie? Obviously, I'm not here to provide professional advice because I'm not a therapist. What I am here to do is validate as many Annies as possible. Because when you're in the middle of a narcissistic relationship, or even after you've left, you've spent so long having your voice silenced that sometimes, even in your own mind, you still don't trust yourself. You've been blamed for so long that you start to believe that maybe what was wrong in your relationship is really your fault. You second guess yourself. And my guess is you replay conversations. You wonder what was real and what was imagined. And if the people around you don't understand what you've been through, the doubt in your own mind can sink even deeper. And that's why this podcast exists, because the truth is, when you've been manipulated, gaslit, and controlled for so long, you don't even realize what's happened to you. And even when you do break free physically and mentally, it doesn't happen overnight. We're here so that if you have ever felt unheard, unseen, or just unsure of what's real, you'll know that you are not alone, that there is someone else who has been through something similar. And sometimes healing starts simply hearing someone else say, yes, that happened to me too. So let's talk about it. If you are with a narcissist, know this: you are never going to win an argument, ever. Not because you're wrong, but because narcissists don't argue to resolve things. They argue to control, to shift blame, and to gaslight. They will twist your words, flip the narrative, and make you question your own reality. And if you push back, that just gives them another opportunity to manipulate the situation until it works in their favor. Do these words sound familiar? Why do you have to be that way? Do you realize how stupid you look? And if you're deep in this cycle, when your narcissistic spouse turns things around on you and makes you doubt yourself, you may pause and wonder if he's right. Depending on how long you've been with the narcissist, you may not know the difference between normal conflict and what they're doing to you. And that's by design. And even when you are physically separated, their voice just doesn't disappear. It stays with you, haunting your thoughts, controlling your decisions, making you doubt yourself, even when they're no longer in the room. And that's exactly what happened to Annie in Undercurrent. There's a pivotal scene in Undercurrent where Annie is in an equine emergency room, Now, keep in mind, she was handpicked as a resident fellow because of her exceptional performance in vet school. Yet, even in this moment of high-stakes decision-making, Santino's voice lingers in her mind as she stands over a critically ill horse trying to decide to perform surgery. She hears Santino, "You are nothing." But then something shifts. Annie looks into the eyes of the horse, an animal whose life now depends on her. And in that moment, she makes a choice. She silences Santino's voice. She reclaims her confidence, and she moves forward with her decision. And it's the first time she truly put Santino behind her. That's the thing about narcissistic abuse. It doesn't just disappear when the abuser is gone. It rewires your brain. When you are constantly blamed, when every argument ends up with you being wrong, and any attempt for you to stand up for yourself is flipped back onto you, it really starts to change the way you think. You can actually be afraid to speak up. You start questioning yourself. You can even question your own recollection and memories. Some women actually wonder if they're losing their minds. And here's the hardest part. Most women don't talk about it because if you tell the wrong person, they may not believe you. They might say, "Oh, I know him. He's a good guy. He's not that bad. Are you sure that you're not overreacting?" So you stay quiet. You keep it all inside. And that isolation, that's exactly what the narcissist wants. So if you're sitting there wondering if what you're going through is real, I want you to hear me. It is real, and it isn't your fault. Now, maybe you've already left. Maybe you're out of the house and away from the narcissist. But you still might feel trapped inside your own mind. And you're wondering, why do I still feel this way? Why can't I just move on? Because leaving doesn't erase the damage. It doesn't undo years of manipulation overnight. It takes time to unlearn the lies. It takes time to rebuild your self-trust. And if the people around you don't understand what you went through, it can feel like you're fighting this battle all alone. In Annie's case, when she finally gets away from Santino, she doesn't automatically feel free. She still carries the weight of his words, his control, the fear that maybe she was a big part of the problem. And that is how it is for so many women. You don't just wake up one day and have clarity. It is a process. But healing is possible, and it starts with recognizing the truth. If you are still in a narcissistic relationship, I want you to hear me. You are not crazy. You are not imagining things, and you are not alone. And if you've left, but you're still struggling, please be patient with yourself. It takes time to heal. It takes time to fully see what was done to you, but you will get there. And that's why the Are You Annie podcasts exist, to validate Annies everywhere, to help you see what is real and to remind you that your voice matters. So if this spoke to you, please share this podcast. Send it to someone who might need it. And if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button. You may be helping me reach someone who needs to be validated, because no one should have to go through this kind of thing alone. I believe that when one Annie tells her story and another Annie hears it, the healing cycle begins and it keeps going. If you are an Annie, please recognize that you're not alone, that you are stronger than you think. And as always, I want you to be tenacious. Never give up on what you believe in. Thank you so much for listening, and until next time.